back with another episode of Hoop Take Jace. It's your boy, I love you, Jace. Let's get right into it, man. Today I just want to talk about Jimmy Butler and the ACL injury he suffered last night. Unfortunately, it was against the Miami Heat, and it happened on the same floor. It was the exact same knee and everything that it happened the first time a few years ago. It was very, very sad scene to see, you know what I'm saying? It was a little funny snippet of him and Buddy Hill and him telling him, shut the fuck up, like my knee hurt and shit. Like, he's like, bro, we need you, we need you. What it is also just brings up this dark feeling of like, Steph Curry cannot catch a damn break, man. You know, you have all this drama, all this, dark energy going around with the Jonathan Kuminga shit last season. Then you mess around and you go and get Jimmy Butler, a championship caliber player, a player who doesn't mind playing number two, who's very versatile, play defense, can damn near do anything on the court. We've seen it time and time and time again in that Miami Heat jersey, in Philly, Chicago, you name it, we've seen it. Jimmy Butler's one of those guys. But with this injury, it kind of just puts them back at square one where they were beginning of last season. You know, what do they do now? You know, that seemed like that was going to be the saving grace for this season. That they're going to have Jimmy Butler be healthy the whole time, and now you don't have Jimmy Butler at all. Rest of the season gone. You haven't solved the Jonathan Kuminga situation. Potts is great, but Potts isn't going to solve any of those gaps that you have been filling since Klay Thompson hasn't returned to form. You're going to have to do something different. I don't know what it is. Right now, there's been currently reports about Jimmy getting traded. I don't know where, but Jimmy getting traded, even with this injury, it'd be similar to them trading DeAnthony Milton, or them trading, trading because he wanted them to and allowed them to, but Kevin Durant to the Nets for D'Angelo Russell when he really didn't have to because he was a free agent. I don't know. It just looks really bleak. The future in Golden State looks very bleak, especially with the whole back and forth with, like I said, Steve Curry and the rest of the team, and then the whole, Jonathan Kuminga situation. I don't know where they go from here. Like, this kind of limits their choices. They're going to probably have to trade Draymond, and they're going to have to trade some young talent to get something going here. Because right now, there's not much you can do at all, to be honest with you. There has been talks of Jonathan Kuminga getting traded for DeMar DeRozan. Like I know the Kings have been tied to Jonathan Kuminga since this offseason. And they were unable to, get the deal done because Golden State doesn't want Malik Monk. Golden State does not want Malik Monk for whatever reason. I feel like he'd be a valuable piece, especially now with the absence of Jimmy Butler. I feel like you should take what you can get. If the guy's valuable, if the guy can add something to your team, I think you should, take the chance. Because right now you have nothing. Right now you're just wasting the time and years of a 37-year-old Steph Curry, who deserves better. He deserves another chance at the championship. He deserves that fifth ring, at least to have a shot at it. This team has no chance. You look at the rest of the West. You look at the Suns playing above their heads, way above what we thought they were going to be. The Houston Rockets, when they, finally get it all clicking and together consistently. OKC, San Antonio, the Lakers themselves, once they, make a few moves, because I'm hearing Michael Porter Jr. possibly to them, that'd be insane. Michael Porter Jr. or Claxton would be great additions to the Lakers organization, not gonna lie. But you look at the rest of the West, you look at the teams on the East are starting to bubble up, the Pistons, Miami Heat themselves, Boston's still in the picture, surprisingly. There's numerous of teams, and this Golden State team does not measure up. It doesn't measure up. I could see, if they don't make any moves, I could see them being where the Clippers were just a few weeks ago. and the Clippers still are. They're just fighting to get up out of the mud. They locked in. Tyloo, said whatever he said, and they've been on a run ever since. But I don't want that. We shouldn't want that. One of our last great players, one of the only uh, old guard players to make it as a starter this season and the All-Star game. It's like, let's go into that really quick. Right now, the All-Star starters that got announced on the West and the East. We're gonna start with the West. I'll be looking at Luka Doncic, Stephen Curry, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Victor Wembanyama. Like I said, only old guard. The rest of these guys are in their 20s. Very young players for the most part. This Wembanyama's third season. Finally, All-Star. I know he's happy about that. Let's go into the East. Right now we're looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Kate Cunningham, and Jaylen Brown. I'm saying that's a great list. And I forgot to mention because this is very confusing for me because it's still new. With the 2026 format, basically the starters will be separated into U.S. and international teams. You know what I'm saying? For a round robin tournament. Don't really know what that means. We'll figure it out as we go because I'm still new to this new format as well, just as much as the rest of everybody else is. But basically, it's going to be, USA versus the world. And right now, the starting five for world is Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, SGA, and Victor Wembanyama. That's a hell of a starting five. That might be a starting five you probably put up against some people's all-time list. Shit, in a few years, this may be somebody's all-time list when it's all said and done. This is insane. So it remains to be seen who's gonna be able to really combat this as far as lineups. Because the lineup we're seeing right now, that's not even a center for USA. We have Steph Curry, we have Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Kate Cunningham, and Jaylen Brown. There's no five in there. And you got 2 7-footers. 2 7-footers. That's insane. Technically 3 7-footers with Giannis. So that's pretty much insane, bro. I don't know what they do there and how this works because you technically have to come up with two lineups for the USA teams. It's like who gets involved in that. We won't know who the backups will be, or the rest of the teams will be up until February 1st. We got a few weeks here before we get to that. But yeah, man, it's definitely gonna be great. I just saw VJ Edgecombe saying that he doesn't want to be part of the dunk contest. I feel like at this point, bro, we gotta change something up. We gotta either just take it away and come up with something new, like the 1v1. Make the 1v1 tournament a thing. People definitely want to see a 1v1 tournament. I want to see a 1v1 tournament. We've been talking about that for years. Kevin Durant being involved in that. I would love for them to do it early enough so he can be involved. We saw Ant speak about it himself just a few days ago. After you seen, well, I don't know if y'all saw it, but y'all should have. This was one of the best battles we've seen this season. One of the best battles I've seen in a few years of Ant versus Wemby. They got in that fourth quarter. It was just shot after shot, shot after shot. Ant dropped 55. Wemby dropped 39. It was an amazing game. Just to show you, basically they're the future. I saw a lot of comparisons for Kobe. A lot of comparisons to Tim Duncan. You know, not necessarily the exact same players, but I see why the archetypes are there. The archetypes are there to a degree. I mean, Tim Duncan wasn't pulling up, fucking 3-pointers from off the dribble from 35 feet out, but I get why they were going there. San Antonio Spurs centerpiece, possibly championship caliber player. You got a guard, 6'5", 6'4", whatever. Kobe was like 6'6", I think, and can do anything. Athletic, got the J, the clutch ability to pull up anywhere on a drop of a dime. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely see why people said that. It's just gonna be really exciting to see, man. That game had me on the edge of my seat, bro. Especially you see Timberwolves came back from a 25-point deficit. They came back from 25, bro, and they put themselves in a chance to win that game. They just wasn't able to get it done. I mean, because you got the 7-5 monster or whatever, bro. The alien, should I say? It was the ant versus the alien. It was must see TV, bro. Must see TV. Not gonna lie. But to move on from that, there's a few other trades that were talked about that we still haven't seen anything formulate from completely yet. Ja Morant to the Heat. There's been a bunch of ties to that, but as far as officially today, Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. He told that the organization that he wishes to not be traded. After all this time, he just played this game. He had a great game overseas the other day. It was fantastic. He was, making his threes, making his mid ranges. He looked happy out there. I would love to see him get traded. I would love to see him get traded to Miami. Miami would be great, depending on what pieces they had to give up. But from there, we also seen, them possibly still trading, not them, but Mavericks possibly still trading Anthony Davis. He still has a bunch of interests out here, and despite his injury history, despite this recent injury history that just happened. But it was announced that he didn't have to get surgery. So that's something that was a positive in the right direction. Still might be tied to the Hawks. Unfortunately, tied to my Hawks, which would be crazy. I love AD. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great ceiling raiser for teams. But the fact that he can't stay healthy concerns me. Like, for that young team that may, gravitate towards him a lot, he would be a very key piece. He wouldn't just go to that team and just be, a random vet. He would be one of the main guys, and we can't just put all the chips on him and then he just not be there. But at the same time, we're kind of going through that with Porzingis, and it's not his fault, but it's kind of the same thing going on right now. And when he's on, bro. When he's on, he's on. As we all know, you know what I'm saying. He like I said, ceiling raiser, floor raiser, ceiling raiser, whatever. You know what I'm saying. He's gonna elevate the game defensively and offensively. Not as much as he was in 2020 when he was like pulling up the threes and pulling the mid ranges a little bit more, but just about as effective as he's always been. Should be defensive player of the year by now. Should definitely have one by now. At least two, in my opinion. Definitely should have two. But the other trades we've been hearing about, Zion Williamson to the Bulls. They're saying they've been having a bunch of talks. Don't know for who and for what. It's been very connected to each other. It remains to be seen exactly what comes out of that. I would like them to keep Josh Giddey there. See a Josh Giddey, Zion Williamson connection. That would be great to see. To see the chemistry build up from there. Zion just got to stay healthy, man. Zion stay healthy. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit if Zion stays healthy. Not gonna lie to you. But to move on from there, other trades that's been going on. Oh, recently, the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks have been on a 9 out of 11 losing streak. Terrible to see. We had high hopes for them, especially with the acquisitions they just got with the Jordan Clarkson. And, then they had the president, but then the president retired right after he got signed over there, which was insane. We still don't know really why that happened, but now there's just been reports that they're looking for a defensive-minded guard to pick up, and then it's like, what do you mean? Like, how you gonna get that done? Basically, be taking the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands, and he's always been a big part of the offense for the past few seasons since he's been in it. But then also there's reports about them trading Karl-Anthony Towns, which isn't surprising if you've seen them. They just had a recent players-only meeting saying that they got to stop blaming the coaches and they got to lock in. And then there's reports about them being mad at Mike Brown for hugging Draymond Green. I'm like, dude, he's won championships with the guy. Why wouldn't he hug him? Why wouldn't he hug him? What are you talking about? I mean, I get it because they're talking about it was a flagrant on Karl-Anthony Towns and they should, stand like that at war, but it's not the playoffs, and that's a player that I actually, love and have a great relationship with. And I'm not finna just not hug him just based off something that happened in one game. You know what I'm saying? Just because my player is doing whatever he's doing, or not doing. Because we've been saying this for years since he was in the Timberwolves, early Timberwolves, and all the way up until now. The Jimmy Butler blow up, all of that, and he still has not improved his, defensive mind state. All of that, so his motor gets really low. I don't know. It's just something going on with Cat. I think at this point, with Cat, that's just how he is. That's just how he is as a player. That's just how he's going to always be. And we can't get mad at that, bro. We can't get mad at that. We just got to live with it. And some teams going to have to live with it. The Knicks are not going to live with it. You can't have your second best player, slacking on defensive plays and getting talked to by, the third or fourth best player about what they need to be doing. And I've watched the whole clip. I think it was the Suns. I can't remember what team it was. And Mikal Bridges was on Cat ass all game. And he legit, did not learn anything. After that Jimmy Butler situation, me personally, you wouldn't have to tell me nothing else. I'd have been locked in rest of the time. 5, 4, whatever. I'm calling, Anthony Davis. I'm saying, hey, bro, what you be doing? How do you get better as a defender at our height? You know what I'm saying? What can I do to be better? What can I do to be better? I'm not finna keep on bullshitting and, having this bad, terrible reputation around the league when I know I can do better. When everybody know I can do better. Why wouldn't I go and do better? What is limiting me? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's just a mindset thing. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, and I get that those things happen in his personal life, and that is insane to have to go through. And anybody who's ever lost a parent knows how hard it can be. But some of those things were already going prior to that. It just has been continuing on, and maybe that made it worse. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't claim to know what's going on in Karl-Anthony Towns' personal life and how it affects him on the court. But what I can tell you is on the court, this has always been a thing since the beginning of the time. That wasn't the start of it. It definitely wasn't the end of it. We just need to see more out of Karl-Anthony Towns. We know he can be a better player. But that's all I got for today. It's been another episode of HoopTakeJase. It's your boy, I love you, Jace. We out.